Hello and welcome to the first episode of our podcast with Alex and Rhianne. Today we're going to do an episode on the Dot and Bubble Doctor Who episode that's just come out. It's Alex's first time watching it today and he's got some thoughts.
Not my first time watching it today. My first time watching it ever.
It's my first time watching it today because I also stayed up last night to watch it as it came out because I really like Doctor Who.
Yeah.
But I made Alex watch it today because I came in at like 1 a.m. I was like, Alex, the ending's really good, and he was like, still asleep. And then but when I saw online today when I woke up, it seemed like no one else really liked it, so I wanted to get Alex to watch as a bit of a second opinion.
So what do you think?
I thought it was like, we were talking about it before, and it's like it's really like Black Mirror, but not necessarily like in a good way. Like it's trying to copy in the aesthetics of Nosedive 100%. But I don't think like doing a story in the future about, technology in that way is necessarily copying Black Mirror, because sci-fi's always done that. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. I think just because it's modern and it's based on like sort of the way we communicate now anyway, it just has more of a modern feeling to it as well, like what Black Mirror has. Like even though this is on a different world, it doesn't necessarily feel like it's like miles in the future or past or anything like that. It just feels like it's our present. And they just live in like a different way that's very like screen dependent. So I think there's more similarity with Black Mirror because of that, because it's sort of coming from the same time. They're sort of making comments on the same current society and stuff.
No,
so.
I feel like it feels like it's set like quite far in the future, because it's a colony on a different world.
So you take them as like human?
I take them as like human-like not necessarily actually human, but like aliens that may as well be human. Do you know what I mean? But like the dot and bubble kind of system isn't the same as our phones now. Like obviously that's what Russell's going for, but it's not like apples to apples comparison, is it?
No. So what do you think of the main character in this, since the Doctor isn't again the main character, or Ruby in this one? It's a completely different new introduced character who's going to only be in this episode based on the ending.
I really liked her because like I thought she was I like love like a protagonist which is like not a good person, and like she felt like a real person. Like I was almost like looking at you during that episode being like, we kind of like know people like that. Do you know what I mean? And like I think because now we both live in like quite a big city in the UK where a lot of people move to, who are like got more money and they've got like just a different kind of status about life. I feel like in the city we're in right now, there's a bubble of like young elite who just get to kind of party and not do anything while the world goes on around them. And I felt like there was equally a commentary on that as it is a commentary on technology, because obviously that kind of class system's been going on like for like all of capitalism at
I think
least,
that saved it, the fact that there was a couple of elements, because then that meant that you could do that scene at the end with Shooty where there were kind of, it's up to you if you want to take it as like a racism and like a racial commentary thing, because she does direct it at him specifically when it's like him and Ruby that are there. But without the sort of, I think it's more of a comment as well on class as well, and they kind of see themselves as these like young elite. She'll only speak to people who are like similar to her. Although I think the issue you've got there is, if it was like a Capaldi, you could play the kind of you're not like us, you're old, we're only 17 through to 27.
But I feel like...
But Shooty kind of looks exactly like someone who would be living there, like appearance-wise.
Yeah, exactly, because he's a trendy young guy, isn't he? Yeah.
So I'm not sure, because obviously Ruby does look like she literally could have been one of them as well. So I don't know, I think there was like... But
there was no black people in the episode.
No.
Other than Shooty, or even non-white people. And that's got to be deliberate, because Russell seems pretty on it with all of that.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, no, completely
There's no
agree,
way the BBC would put something out in current year and not have like an all-white cast unless that was like part of the point, or it was deliberate.
Yeah, I mean, it was kind of hard to get an idea of how many people there were living in that place because
Ricky September said like hundreds of thousands, didn't he? Or did he just say
no,
thousands
he just
of
said
people?
thousands, just said thousands. Yeah, so I don't think there's that many people there living in that city.
Also, why did Ricky September look like he was 35?
Well, I don't know. I mean, I don't think the actor looked as old as that.
Do you not think the actor looked like
I think
old?
the actor looked like they were probably in their late 20s. Mid to late 20s.
He just had like...
He just had kind of like some face wrinkles that made him look a little bit older, but I think they were just natural face shape related wrinkles instead of age wrinkles.
I'm not trying to indirectly be like the girl on that episode, but I thought like Ricky September was too old to be there.
Yeah, I mean, you can make that argument, but I don't know, I just feel like they've got to get back on track with the Doctor being in the episodes.
Yeah.
Like, I just think that on this like sort of new run, this whole like season 1 rebranding and like this is like a new Who, it's all different again.
They've literally put it on a different point on iPlayer.
Like you just can't imagine. I mean, think about how much people. I don't know what it was like at the time. People love Rose. I think overall, like your average audience member, maybe like people who
the
are
first episode Rose with
Chris Eccleston. I mean that's like an introduction of Rose, obviously, because we already know who the Doctor is. Overall, because obviously the show's after him, you don't have to introduce the Doctor as like a new guy, but it did a really good job of introducing Eccleston at the same time. It was like a good way of splitting the two characters being introduced at the same time. Yeah. With this, it just feels like they've gone straight into the like, this is Ruby, she's the main point, and Shooty's just kind of there as a background. Like the Doctor just needs to be more front and center on these episodes, I think, with it being like a new character.
And he's got to kind of, especially since, like, I'm, like, a little bit of an apologist for the Whittaker era. I really like Flux. Apart from some of the Liverpool scenes are a bit cringe. But especially what happened with Jodie just never landed as a Doctor. And you could make the argument that Capaldi didn't either in terms of the general public, even though fans really love him. It's really important to establish Shooty as the Doctor.
Yeah.
And, like, get people on side and get people liking him as the main character.
Yeah, because I think bringing Tennant back for those few bridge episodes was a good idea, because obviously people were probably down on their interest with it being Jodie. And then I think getting to bring some of the audience back for that and then going, right, this is going to be the new Doctor and it's such a recognisable actor and he's been so much stuff everyone's seen recently, that I feel like obviously you don't have to introduce him as much, like, because people know who he is. They've kind of had that special, has quite a lot of him in it and stuff, but I just think
not really though. Like, I know, like, normally a regeneration episode, it would just be, at least in the modern series, it would just be the Doctor, like, as a scene at the end after the TARDIS has exploded or whatever. But even.
Oh, sorry, I meant the special with the singing,
the
singing in the Ruby and Doctor.
Oh, the Goblin
episode,
one.
Yeah. It just feels like it's just taking so long to get going, and obviously when you're 5 episodes out of 8, it's not the kind of show where it's a slow build to a finale. It's one-off episodes. So you like the Eccleston series.
Yeah.
There are like 3 specials. It feels like 2-parters and stuff in that series, like as it goes.
Yeah.
And they'll get like some build, but also you can watch the episodes like the End of the World one and like Ruby even as like self-contained, good, strong episodes with their own plots.
That's how I introduced it to you.
Yeah.
Because I was trying really hard to get Alex into Doctor Who for a long time, and Eccleston was the only thing that really did it. And there was like a unique kind of goodness to that season.
Yeah, but I've still not seen a lot of other episodes in between, which is why we're going to do this, so that we can like discuss them and sort of see the progression, and maybe like just seeing some more of the modern era stuff, maybe, because a lot of the things you've shown me have been Tennant and all of Eccleston. Yeah. And then just the occasional Matt Smith, but we've not seen
Matt Smith is my favourite Doctor, but whenever I've shown Alex a Matt Smith episode, he's been like, I can't watch this.
Yeah, but I'll give that another go.
No, you will.
You will.
You will. You will watch Doctor Who with me.
But like, I think what I was going to say before actually was Jodie as an example. Obviously, her series isn't like her like set of series aren't as like well received, I guess, overall, and like didn't really increase the popularity of the show. But when we watched the Flux stuff and that story, I just thought that she was so like front and center of it. She became like the main character, and it was a real Doctor study. You know what I mean? Like, and I think like every episode doesn't have to be a Doctor study, and like But if you can get a moment like the one you get at the end of the episode we watched today, with Shooty acting and getting 5 minutes to, well, not even that, probably like maybe 2 or 3 minutes to actually like show off the Doctor.
Yeah.
It feels like there's just so much that we should know about him for a scene like that to work. Like, it's still not really at the point where you understand enough of like Shooty's mindset.
I don't even know if he's like what type of Doctor he is yet, and like where you would is he more like a Smith, or like a Capaldi, or a Tennant, or a Garner, or whatever.
Well, so far he seems to be like from what I've seen of Capaldi, where he's just in fucking 2 minutes of each episode.
Yeah. What was that Capaldi episode I showed you?
Don't worry, he got stuck in the really small TARDIS when he got smaller and smaller, and it was just a Clara episode again. But we've not seen much Capaldi. I've not seen any Capaldi together. Yeah. Except for that episode and that speech that you showed me on YouTube.
The Zygon speech.
Yeah, that was pretty crazy. But on this episode again, if you're at episode 5 in this new season, where do you go from that? Because do you feel like you really need to get like a spotlight Doctor episode to?
Well, I think like on paper that was meant to be Boom, you know, the one where he's on the landmine. But like, again, he didn't get to show off being the Doctor. He didn't get to save everyone. Everyone saved him.
Yeah, and it's just another Ruby episode to me. I mean, there's plenty of the episode again that the Doctor isn't really in as the Doctor. I mean, he's part of what makes like Tennant and stuff, because like as much as I love Eccleston, Tennant is definitely like the defining physical Doctor.
Yeah.
The running around and obviously it's like the meme, isn't it, of the Doctor, the more running and like him just sprinting, but the physicality of him, him like the hand movements and like the facial, like the overacting that he does, because they all have to overact as a Doctor, because that's the point, is that he's this eccentric guy.
You know, when you were saying the physicality of Tennant, I was just picturing that scene on Waters and Mars where they're stood on those electric scooters, and he's just stood this like still as a statue, and they're like running for their lives. But like but again, like, he's running. Maybe that's what
Shooty watched when he was studying how to play the Doctor. He was like, let's watch some Tennant acting. He was like, he stands completely still and doesn't move. And maybe that's why they've decided to get this motif of the Doctor has to stand in one place, like on a screen or on a mine or in a control room with babies there, or
the babies were
or not in the episode at all. Or he stands completely still when he steps on the broken magic square, and then he's not in the rest of the episode again.
That kid's actor, I don't know if we're going to do an episode completely on Boom, because I thought it was like a 9 out of 10. I thought it was amazing. But
I want my daddy. Why do
that was what I was going to say. The one thing about the episode is the kid.
Yeah. Daddy, where is he?
Where's Daddy?
Why is my daddy a hologram? Why are my body parts over there?
10 years old?
Body parts of my daddy in that tube. Is he coming back?
I wish, like...
What's his obsession with this daddy and mummy thing? So there's a baby episode first.
Ooh.
Then there's a Where's My Daddy episode. And then there's a So My Mummy's Dead in this episode we just watched today.
That is... I think you've stumbled across something very significant there. I've not had anyone talk about that. But I think... No, because the whole overall arc of this season is the family stuff. Where are you from for Ruby? And the Doctor, now we've got this Timeless Child arc is canon from Flux.
Yeah.
The Doctor's an orphan as well. It might be linked to all of that.
It could be. But do you want to talk about the monsters? Because you seem to like the monsters in this episode.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I just thought it was really scary because, like, I was, like, addicted to the internet genuinely growing up. And during lockdown, I was on TikTok for 14 hours a day, and that's not an exaggeration. So I'm someone who gets really addicted to phones and things, and I'd say you don't really. But I feel like maybe that's part of the reason that the monsters in this, like, really scared me. Like, again, like, I was saying at the start of the episode, but, like, sitting there and being eaten and not realising because you're so engrossed.
Yeah.
You can almost see that happening.
Yeah.
Like, when you're on the bus, everyone's looking at their phone. I don't want to sound like a boomer. But it's like, if there was, like, a cockroach monster on the bus eating the people at the front of the bus, you would not notice.
Yeah. People get very absorbed in that kind of world now. In public. And I think that's the thing that stands out, is, like, if people are just so comfortable now, they can sit there in public on their phone and just in front of everyone else, just in their own world, like not aware of what's going on around them. And yeah, I think that as much as it's not the most unique thing ever, the technology idea of getting to engrossed, put the screens down, all that stuff, it was done like well in this episode.
Yeah.
I just think that monster was just a bit big to like critique it, like how it looked on screen. I think it was just a bit too massive, and obviously
how was it too big?
Well, I just think it was like a bit comically massive. I don't think you could miss it, because obviously the idea was that you can kind of see through a dimmed version of the screen. You can still kind of see what's in front of you a little bit in between the screens that are on there.
But that's kind of the point, I guess. Like is like they can see, but they choose not to. Like they want to be distracted. They don't want to look at the bits in between the apps.
Also, you're telling me, sorry, this is a bit nitpicky.
Nitpick away.
So we saw two characters on their screens with their background where the creature came into and ate them, right?
Yeah.
Because there was a girl it happened to, and then there was, I know, Gothic Paul. Gothic Paul, and
what a guy.
And the lady who died before she did in the alphabetical order. We saw both of them get killed.
Mando something.
Yeah.
Yeah. Also, why I don't like that a Scouser was one of the baddies.
But she survived.
Yeah, but she was a racist baddie.
I don't think she was racist. Well, she might have been racist. Yeah, she was racist.
She was racist.
In the show. Yeah. But I just think, like, if you think about in the past in Doctor Who as well, they had the cockroach that was on...
Donna's back.
Donna's back.
Oh,
that cockroach looked amazing.
Yeah.
As well, like really like real and massive. So I just think they could have done maybe like even a more prosthetic based looking monster. It just kind of looked a bit video game like, I thought.
This is what I wanted to ask you about as well. Like, do you think they made the monsters eating the people less scary visually because of Disney? Do you think that's Disney influence?
Well, has anything creepy happened in this series so far as a whole?
I'd say 73 Yards was creepy.
It was creepy, but it wasn't like graphic.
No.
Anything graphic happened in this series so far? I mean, the monster that was in the Space Babies was gross looking.
Yeah.
And it was made out of snots or whatever in the show.
Yeah.
But it didn't kill it. It didn't eat any of the kids.
No, it was.
We were really hoping it was going to, because I was that boy went and confronted it. I'm going to be brave.
And we were both like watching it. We were like, we're going to kill a baby on BBC One. A BB.
Kill a BB on the BBC. Well, yeah. I mean, you might be on something then, because there's not been anything so far, and there are like just surprisingly graphic parts of Doctor Who in the past.
Like I don't want the Doctor to pick up a machete and then to be blood everywhere. That's not what we turn on Doctor Who.
I suppose. But the remains of the people in the tube looked kind of gross. That was quite graphic, because you could.
That Stephen Moffat. Yeah, with the eye.
Yeah.
And like the death.
Yeah. Death in the bottle.
That's another thing that's been cropping up this season about death in this one, and then death in Boom as well. So it might be like another Stephen Moffat. All the dead people get bloated.
I suppose death is a huge feature in 73 Yards as well.
Yeah. Because
obviously it's all about her life. It's like her lifespan, and then she like kind of dies at the end, and it breaks the time loop.
That's graphic. You know, when she's dead in 73 Yards and she's reaching out. Like, I wouldn't be surprised if they put like a 12 rating on that.
Oh yeah.
So maybe Disney aren't actually.
I think that Disney, given what they're doing elsewhere, would be less likely to want to clean up Doctor Who than they would be to kind of embrace a few little gory scenes. And obviously with more budget, you can make those scenes look better too. But, yeah. I mean, the thing is, those monsters were digesting people, and it was graphic in the way that they were like screaming, being like pulled into it.
And the noises of digestion.
Yeah, the eating noises were quite graphic.
Like, we've come a long way from like the Absorbable Off, you know, when it comes to eating people on Doctor Who.
Those faces that are attached to his body are like more fucked up, I'd say, than anything that was in that episode. I mean, that it does, as much as it's funny, because it's Peter Kay, isn't it, in the costume?
It's Peter Kay putting on a northern accent when he turns.
Peter Kay does not need to put on a northern accent. But I just think the faces look kind of creepy on that.
I'm not saying, could I just clarify? I'm not saying Peter Kay's not northern. I'm saying his character in the episode, when he's a human, he's southern, and then when he turns into the monster, he has northern accent.
Oh, really? See, I've not seen that episode. You've just shown me the faces.
I don't, because I feel like I've just about convinced you to watch Doctor Who with
me.
We'll
get there. We'll get there when we cycle through.
It's going to scare you off. It's too bad. It's too bad.
Oh dear. Well, so where did they go from here? What next?
What next?
Like ignoring the preview.
For the Bridgerton episode.
Yeah, because we didn't really pay too much attention to that anyway.
No.
Like we know where it's set, and we know what it looks like it's set as.
I feel like I basically already watched the episode. The amount of clips I've seen online already.
I just think if you're going to do things about race, and maybe that was why they did that at the end there, because it was definitely like racial, like sort of, or like racist overtones to what was
using the word
happening.
voodoo. I feel like using the word voodoo explicitly means that they are being racist.
Yeah, I suppose. But I think if you then taking Shooty there, like off the back of like a big frustrating moment for him, where he's obviously like very upset, and then putting him into an episode which is set in a time where there wouldn't be many black people around, if it's like a monarchy based episode, like it kind of looks.
Yeah, but you say that, but in the preview there was aliens.
Yeah, I mean there's aliens in most of the episodes, but if they're gonna have that kind of like attitude among the characters who are in it, is that not a good time to like expand and go further into the racing? Because obviously, the thing that's difficult with the Doctor is obviously Shooty's got his own personality, and when the Doctor regenerates, that's one of the things you can talk about for ages is like what changes and what sort of stays the same.
Yeah.
But adjustment to being black after repeatedly being the set of Doctors that we've seen, because obviously, I assume that there are very few jumps in between.
The Fugitive's Doctor's black in canon,
and
then there's like you could argue there's Doctors we don't know about, and then when we see the Doctor as
in between the ones that we've seen, I don't think it's ever really implied that there's a Doctor in between the ones that we've seen on screen from series to series. They've kind of gone because there's been regenerations between them, hasn't there?
No, like the ones on screen all follow a pattern, and then you've got John Hurt as well. But you could kind of, I feel like a showrunner in the future could write into canon that like the Splinter Doctors going off, and even Doctors before Hartnell, and then now with the
look, don't get me wrong. Of course, there was probably regenerations of the Doctor where the Doctor was black before this one, but I still think that given that it's sort of been a back to back of like loads and loads of white versions of the Doctor, that now would be a good time to go into the Doctor adjusting to being black.
As an arc,
yeah, and like I just feel like if as far as they're going to go with that is just what they put at the end of that episode, I don't think that's like fulfilling enough, because I think it's like a real opportunity given the things that he is giving time to Russell T Davies in this series. I think that there's a lot of room to like go into that a lot with this, and I think because Shooty's such a good actor, I think it'll be like very good at portraying it, and I just think that would be a really good direction for them to go in. But
again, like, like, if I was, like, a kid at home who was black watching Doctor Who, do I want my doctor to, like, on screen every week grapple with racism?
Well, no, it doesn't have to be a weekly thing.
Do I want to see him having adventures with aliens?
But that's what I mean, like, if you've just seen an episode where they're on an alien planet, there's alien creatures in it, and they've touched on racism at the end, but just barely. I mean, that's exactly what you're talking about. You don't want to see that happening every week. You want to see it approached in like a main story where you establish.
Yeah, no, it needs to be like addressed at least once, because if nothing else, it'd be a really good story.
Yeah. I just think there's so much room for that, and I think, like I say, if I don't want them to talk about it weekly, it doesn't have to, because it's never really been the point of a series of Doctor Who, as far as I'm aware, to repeatedly go after the same social issue. Obviously, there's social issues in tons of episodes of Doctor Who, but...
Yeah, like that Donna Noble episode I showed you where they got deported to Leeds.
Mussolini. The Mussolini family. But I just think that, like, give it an episode.
Yeah.
Because it just makes sense. And give it an episode before it gets too crowded and too busy with, like, the extra companion in the next series. Like, put that in there now, give them an episode away from Ruby. Because I feel like you've seen so much Ruby already. And it might just be me trying to get rid of Millie Gibson for an episode, but like if you could just get a Doctor-focused episode, I think that would just do like wonders for the character. Because so far I'm feeling like really good performances, but I just don't think that out of any of the Doctors I've seen, because I think I've seen at least an episode of one of every Doctor, that he's establishing himself as someone who's going to be memorable as a Doctor.
He's not the main character.
No.
And I know people said Jodie wasn't the main character, but at least she got screen time. You know.
Well, she was definitely the main character in the Flux stuff.
Yeah, that was good. I didn't like how Dan was going food banks, so I was like, can you have a Scouse character that's not in poverty, just as a one-off, please?
Yeah. Do you have anything as a final thing to say about this episode, would you say?
I would say that I think that this episode is really good, and there are problems with it, but I just don't understand the kind of dislike of it I'm seeing online, and I've just got
What's the dislike of it mainly around?
Well, people are just saying, like, again, what we were talking about today, like, there's Dr. Light, there's not enough Doctor, it's a Black Mirror rip-off, and those two things are true. But again, I thought it was genuinely really scary. Yeah. And it was a good episode of Doctor Who.
I think as you said when you asked me right after we finished watching it, did you like it? And I was like, I think I liked it more as an episode of general TV than as an episode of Doctor Who, because I feel like I'm firmly in the camp of that there just needs to be more shooting. I don't think they can get away with like having a whole season of this, and they've only got 3 more to go, and the next one doesn't look like it's gonna be anything like mind blowing. Like it might be like a good individual story, but it doesn't look like it's gonna do much to add to the overall plot.
And I imagine the finale is gonna be all about Ruby as well.
Why wouldn't you assume it'd be a 2-parter to finish?
Well, we're going to go to cinema to watch it, aren't we? So, I don't...
Is it going to be a long final episode, or are they going to do 2 episodes, do you think?
I don't know. I haven't looked into it.
Well, I think you could really do with a strong 2-part closer that really focuses a lot on shooting.
And Russell T Davies is good at 2-parters.
Yeah, the 2-parters are some of the best stuff that I've seen. But it just needs something. I think this episode was just, like, not bad. And, like, definitely not the worst in this series. I'd say it was probably, like, 2nd or 3rd best. Maybe, like, 2nd best, I'd say.
Okay, to close then, your ranking of the episodes you've seen this series right now.
Okay, well, the only one I've not seen is the Beatles one.
Yeah.
So I can't rank that. But I think it makes it very easy. Aside from that, I think it would easily be the 73 yards first.
Yeah.
Followed by this one.
Yeah.
Followed by Boom.
Yeah.
Followed by Space Babies.
Damn. I'd put 73 yards first, Dot and Bubble next, then Boom, then the Beatles one, and then Space Babies, which is basically the same as you.
It's the same as I
mean, you didn't like what you saw of the Beatles one.
Well, no, you only showed me the song, and I didn't see anything else, so I'll need to watch that one back.
Yeah.
But from what you said...
do an episode on that one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, if you want to rewatch that one with me. I think if we were ever going to touch on any of the episodes, if this does become a regular thing, if we're ever going to touch back on the episodes, it's 100%, it'll be a spotlight on the 73 yards, because, like, as doctorless as that episode is,
it's so good.
It's so good. And, like, for me, it's right up there for best Doctor Who episodes I've seen. But obviously, we can talk as well about the absence of the Doctor there. But hopefully, as we go on with these, we'll be able to talk more. And I think the Beatles episode sounds like it has more. So if we do that one...
There's a lot to talk about in that one.
Yeah. So, yeah.
Sound, thank you so much for listening. We hope the audio quality was alright. We were having some problems at the start. And please drop a comment. And, yeah. And, well, if you've got a YouTube channel, we'll subscribe back. Right, bye.